Frank, you're on.
Am I on? Okay. Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey, Mr. Andy, Larry, Beth. Hey, Scott. Good to see everybody. Andy, I hope you hit him straight on Saturday or Friday. We saw Gail at the farmer's market.
Andy is lip syncing his reply.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I shouldn't be asking questions. Never mind. I'll just wish everybody a happy Monday afternoon.
You can always use the chat function too.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Frank, it was a 3-day golf tournament that I managed to play 4 days in a row.
Wow, pretty good.
I'm an overachiever.
Yeah.
I got most popular prize, not best golf. Most likely to succeed in life.
There you go.
All right, mute me up.
I see Hector Ortiz out there, and boy, oh day, I'm suddenly nervous.
All right, we're at 12:02. I'm going to ring the bell.
Hello, everybody. Since she's going to ring the bell, Oda and Jenny and Sue, Ski.
That's right. Remember to use the chat function, and also remember the speaker view, the gallery view functions in the top right-hand corner of your screen. That's a great way to tune everybody out but the speaker. Good afternoon, Rotary Club of Harrisburg, and guests too. It's so good to see everyone here, and wow, what a welcome break from the heat. I am just, we're going to be prompt in our meeting today so Andy can get out on the course, and if someone's got other outdoor stuff, we want to make that happen today. Good to see Bob here with us again today as well. So, but we want to open our meeting with an invocation, and Dick Stewart is out there for our invocation.
Thank you. Our Father, as we approach the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II, we give thanks to those who have served to protect our freedoms. We pray that you comfort the families of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and that you give hope and strength to those who have suffered injuries in the defense of our country. Bless them for our service, for their service. Amen.
And thank you, Dick. Adeline, what do we have on tap for an opening song today?
Well, today we have Lift Every Voice and Sing, performed by Amma Johnson.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing skies, let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us march on till victory
Thank you. I love the way Amma sings that song. What a great presentation. Would you join me in a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Rotary four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Let's remember to keep the four-way test front and center as we move through our weeks. Hey, a few quick announcements for you today. Taking minutes for our meeting today is Kurt Stutzman. So Kurt, remember the four-way test, please, when you're taking those minutes. And a huge shout out to our corporate members, Capital Blue Cross, UPMC, Highmark, Hospice of Central Pennsylvania, and Harrisburg Regional Chamber and CREDIC. Your support helps us so much to accomplish the many humanitarian projects that we work on all year long. So we appreciate your support. Well, today we have another one of those brain teasers. And folks, you know how this works, right? Everyone has the chat function, and we're going to put a slide on, and we'd like you to type into the chat what you think that the slide means. The first 3 people who send us the correct answer will get some Rotary merch. And you know, these mugs are starting to show up in different places, and this is one of your opportunities to get some of that Rotary merch. So ready? Adeline, are we up ready with that slide? 3, 2, 1, here it goes. Okay, so right now, you know, we're really not getting any takers. And it is, well, we've got good news reporting, we've got good news Monday, and we've got happy dollars. It is good news reporting, and you know, by show of hands, if someone said good news Monday, should we count that? What do you think?
Yeah.
Everybody put your hand up. All right, we'll count that. So anyways, thanks so much. No, it is good news reporting. Next week, we're going to try doing good news reporting via Zoom. So make sure you watch your Wednesday email announcements and make sure you read the roundup this week. We'll be putting some details in there about how good news reporting is going to work next week. So last Monday, August the 10th, nearly 20 Rotarians gathered over at this Pennsylvania State Farm Show complex to help pack boxes of food for the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank. This is a great service project where right here in Rotary Club number 23, we are helping to stay engaged in meeting needs in our world today. Some of those boxes of food were distributed by the folks at Camp Curtin YMCA. And so this week's lunch money will be sent to Camp Curtin YMCA. Now, if your lunch money is not included in your dues, or if you'd like to make an extra financial donation to the YMCA, just head on out on the internet to there we go. Head on out on the internet to ymcaharrisburg.org. Click on the Give button, and you can make a financial donation right there. It's an important part of staying engaged in our community. So each year we do community service awards, and we're up at the time of year where we're looking for nominations for the 2020 Community Service Award. And here to tell us more about how the Community Service Award works is our very own Adeline. Take it away, Adeline.
Hi, it's Adeline from Rotary. Hey, we all know that as Rotarians, we hold service to our communities and to humanity as a priority in our lives. Each year since 1977, the Rotary Club of Harrisburg has presented the Community Service Award to a deserving member of our club. And now we're asking, who should be recognized for 2020? So who can be nominated? Well, anyone who's been a member of the Rotary Club of Harrisburg for at least 3 years, who goes above and beyond Rotary or the normal scope of their job to serve the community, the region, and the world. So last year, Joe Bedard received the Community Service Award for his amazing work in children's literacy. And who should not be nominated? Well, anyone who's already received the award. Sorry, Joe. And the club president or the president-elect. Sorry, James. Sorry, Matt. But I'm sure you can all think of at least 3 other people who deserve to be recognized. To nominate them, just send me an email message with their name and a list of, you guessed it, 3 reasons why they deserve the Community Service Award. Oh, and if you don't already have my email address memorized, it's Adeline, ADDELINE, at hbgrotary.org.
Thank you, Adeline. So send your Community Service Award nominations to Adeline. 3 more quick things here before we wrap up our announcements today. There is a Rotary Means Business event coming up this coming Thursday, August 20th, from 5:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. Now, if you're looking to make business connections in Rotary, then this event is for you. So to get registered for the event, go out to the Rotary Club of Harrisburg events calendar, click on the link, and you'll be able to register right there. There's a happy hour coming up at the West Shore Country Club on August the 26th. Again, on our events calendar, make sure you click on the online registration and can actually register to bring a guest there as well. And last but not least, in our announcements today, Capona is coming up, and that means summer is almost over. It feels like it just got started, doesn't it? How many people are sorry to see summer leave? At least a few. So to volunteer for helping out at Capona, again, go out to the events calendar and click on the Volunteer at Capona button. Now, our job is going to be helping to encourage social distancing in the food truck lines, and we'll be providing more details on that to the folks who sign up. So there's a lot going on here in the Rotary Club of Harrisburg. Oh yes, the events calendar. In case you're not sure where to find that, just go out to the Rotary Club of Harrisburg website, click on calendar, and in the drop-down menu that appears, go to events calendar. It'll take you to a page that looks like this one. And then you just click on the event and make it happen from there. So there's a lot going on, and again, we so appreciate everyone's ongoing support and engagement right here in the Rotary Club of Harrisburg. Since the COVID pandemic hit, we have been taking a portion of our dues that we would have otherwise used to pay for lunch, and we've been donating those dollars to local charities. 2 weeks ago, Joe Arthur's presentation helped us to see how the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank is using those dollars to provide food to people in need right here in Central Pennsylvania. Now, today we have another report on how our Rotary dollars are being used, this time by Bethesda Mission. So here today with a lunch money report from the Bethesda Mission is Cindy Mallow.
Thank you, James, and thank you to all of you. Thank you for inviting me here today. So I'm happy to be here. Well, it has certainly been an unusual 5 months, and I know that you can all agree with me on that. You may know that at our men's shelter down on Riley Street, we serve soup line every day at 4:30, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and we invite anyone from the community to come there and get a free meal. So usually we see around 75 people in that line. When you get closer to the end of the month, the numbers can jump up to 125, 150 people. You see families, pretty much anyone. However, one thing that we did notice when COVID hit, those numbers increased substantially. So we saw that there was going to be a huge need in the community for food. So one thing that we did do to try to help out is rather than just serving the soup line every day, we added a breakfast. So anyone in the community could come get a free breakfast at Bethesda Mission, and they could also come and get free dinner at Bethesda Mission. And then there was another location they could go to for lunch. So 3 meals a day without any problems. When we saw those needs, we tried to meet those needs the best that we could. However, obviously our need for food greatly increased. So the donations from Rotary and our faithful donors that we've had over the years, they really stepped up their game, and our donations actually went up during this entire period of time. So we are so grateful to the community, to organizations like Rotary for helping us out so that we could help those that are less fortunate than us. So thank you so much for your donation, and we are incredibly grateful.
All right, thanks so much, Cindy. And yeah, let's give Cindy a Rotary Club of Harrisburg round of applause. We appreciate all that the folks at Bethesda Mission are doing to help with folks in need. And we'll be having a few more of those reports as the weeks go along, so that we can tie together what it is that we're doing with our lunch money and hearing real reports about the real difference that's being made each and every day. I continue to be impressed with the speakers that our program committee continues to line up and bring to us for our program. It's not an easy job, but these folks are staying right on top of it in our program committee, and we are so proud of them and so pleased with the job that they're doing. Here to introduce today's speaker is a member of our program committee, Ellen Brown.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm really thrilled to be able to introduce Lenwood Sloan to you today, who will be talking to us about a new monument that will commemorate the 150th anniversary of the passage of the 15th Amendment and the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which granted the right to vote, respectively, to African Americans and to women. The monument will also honor the legacy of the Old 8th Ward, a Black neighborhood in Harrisburg of nearly 1,100 homes that was raised to make way for the Capitol complex expansion in the early 1900s. At a time when monuments are coming down across our country, to have a monument honoring so many important issues we are all discussing today is it's just amazing. And orchestrating this project as a volunteer is Mr. Lenwood Sloan. He's a well-known across the country as a catalytic agent, animator, and facilitator of cultural and heritage programs. For the past 40 years, Mr. Sloan's leadership has been an inspiration to many. He's been involved in film, cultural, heritage, and recreational initiatives in Pennsylvania, including collaboration with the National Park Service on the 50-site Underground Railroad Trail, sorry, that's a tongue twister, for which he received the Pennsylvania Martin Luther King Humanitarian Award in 2011, and the Pennsylvania Civil War Trails Award, for which he won the Historical Society's Innovation Award. Lenwood also is well known in our area for bringing the United States Colored Troop Grand Review to Harrisburg in 2010. Working on this current monument project with him is our Rotarians Jeb Stewart, Peggy Grove, Janice Black, and I'm sure others. Please join me in giving a heartfelt welcome to my dear friend Lenwood Sloan. We are very, very grateful to have him with us today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Rotarians, I am used to looking across the room in the Hilton and seeing the grandeur of the leadership of our community. And while I see you in patchwork crazy quilt on my screen today, I know that your leadership, your impact, and your effervescence is still fueling the imagination. A Gathering at the Crossroads was designed by artist Becky Alt and the ART, Art Research Enterprises, Inc. in Lancaster County. From a rigorous search across the country for foundry artists, we commissioned Becky Alt, the only woman to own a foundry, fine arts foundry in the mid-Atlantic states, and a foundry which has over 200 sculptures across the United States. And here you see the evolution of our monument, which is called A Gathering at the Crossroads, from left to right on your screen, from the rendering through the center slide, which is the completion of the first element, the iconic orator's pedestal, which has the names of 100 citizens of the old 8th Ward. And on your right, you see the clay maquette, the model, which began to bring the rendering to three-dimensional. May I have the next slide, please? We need to start by thanking the Foundation for Enhancing Communities, which is the fiscal agent of the Harrisburg Peace Promenade. The Harrisburg Peace Promenade is the only Pennsylvania site of the 2,400 international peace parks and peace gardens across the United States. We're proud that we have been the Pennsylvania site, first in our project along the riverfront, and now at the transformation of the South Lawn. And we could not have done it without the support of TFEC, who is our fiscal sponsor. Next slide, please. The monument will be placed on the South Lawn of the K. Leroy Irvis building at the corner of 4th and Walnut Streets. You're looking at the historic Pennsylvania Historic and Museum Commission's authenticator site that says that Frederick Douglass and William Lloyd Garrison spoke on that site, which was the gateway to the old 8th Ward, the Tanner's Alley. And so the monument is truly placed on both significant and hallowed grounds. Next slide, please. We cannot bring back the 1,100 families and the 500 businesses of the old 8th Ward. And indeed, there is not a stone, a pebble, a cornice, a cobblestone, or a road sign that signifies that there was once a proud, free Black neighborhood there. But we can raise up the stories of the people there, and we can reach out through many communication tools to try to find the descendants of the old 8th Ward and bring them home. Next slide, please. Now, here is a map on the left of the old 8th Ward of 1870, and I'm proud to say that your own Jeb Stewart found this map for us. And on the right is an overlay of the 12 buildings on the Capitol complex, which are now on sites that were once the old 8th Ward. So you can see the impact of the the new complex of the Capitol and its footprint, the old 8th Ward. Next slide, please. Well, each day conservatively, well, let me say, start again. Each normal day, each day before the pandemic, conservatively 3,000 to 8,000 individuals, 3,000 to 8,000 individuals entered the area, which is now the Capitol complex, which was once the old 8th Ward, to work in the 12 Capitol buildings as state employees, as legislators, as arbiters, as advocates, as consultants. And they come there around 7:45 in the morning and they leave at 4:45, never knowing that there was once a historic neighborhood there. And so we created a campaign called Look Up and Look Out, which is very simple. We just asked them, these are placed by the sides of the windows in those 12 buildings that they stare out longingly on their breaks. And we asked them to look out those windows and imagine the views of the old 8th Ward. There is a QR code there. If they want to time travel, they can put their phone up to the QR code and they can have an instant transformation back to the neighborhood. And thanks to Messiah College, there are also beautiful sepia tone photographs in a kind of slideshow. So it's a moment of rest and a moment of education and advancement about the pride of the once great neighborhood there. Next slide, please. So I spoke about the 100 names on the side of the orator's pedestal. We went in search of those 100 names. Ellen, we discovered that on the corner of 3rd and Walnut Street during 1850 was the office of the Fugitive Slave Act, and bounty hunters daily went into the old 8th Ward and put up wanted signs for freedom seekers. The old 8th Ward is a vetted site of the Underground Railroad, and so vigilance and achievement against the odds was taking place. We appropriated this wanted sign by going throughout the communities of Harrisburg and putting up the reappropriated wanted sign, wanted the descendants of these 100 people. And with Messiah College's help and our historic history detectives, kind of a cross between history detectives and the Antique Roadshow, we have been able to find descendants from 87 families of the 100 families that we're honoring. We had hoped to bring those families home in a Jubilee year this summer to stand on this spot and deify and dedicate this. We have not been able to do that, but with the help of a small grant and a grant from the Andrew Carnegie Foundation, we were able to publish this book, which you see on your right of the screen, which are stories of the 100 families which we are honoring. We are literally placing them back into history. Next slide, please. Now, each time we find a family member, we hand them one of these small coins, which is a challenge coin. Those of you who know about the challenge coin, you're supposed to place it in the hand of a change maker and ask them to squeeze it hard to help you with your challenge. In the old days, they were made of gold. And in the old days, once you met your challenge, they gave them back. Nobody's giving their coins back these days. But we have been able to distribute these coins. On the left, you see Mike Cunningham from the Artist Studio. And on the right, you see a descendant of Hannah Jones, whom we found as a deputy director for housing in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And he is holding his challenge coin as he told us the story about his ancestors. Next slide, please. Now for the anatomy of a monument. People confuse plaques, statues, and monuments. Monuments are usually composites of iconic parts. And indeed, this monument is made up of 6 parts. The historic K. Leroy Irvis Equality Circle, which the figures stand on, 4 bronze figures of great orators who came to Harrisburg from all across the state, some born here, some gravitated here, and the iconic orator's pedestal. Next slide, please. We began by making a cardboard likeness of the orator's pedestal. And indeed, the artists in the studio stood around that cardboard and imagined themselves and visualized themselves as the figures of the orators who were in great debate about the 15th and the 19th Amendment. We also talked about the fact that there was no building or no artifact that showed us what life and vitality of the old 8th Ward looked like. Next slide, please. And so we took Jeb Stewart's map of the old 8th Ward, and ART and Becky Alt created a miniature old 8th Ward, kind of like a chess set that sits on the top of the pedestal. In bronze, it has the display of the original streets, now gone. Grid of the has been changed. Next slide, please. And Becky Alt also created these tableaus and reliefs of life and vitality of the old 8th Ward that are on all four sides of the iconic pedestal. Now, those gray and terracotta patches that you see are the names of the old 8th Ward citizens that we're honoring, interwoven with scenes in relief of the places where they lived. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Now, because the pedestal is not only a four-dimensional object, but has a side, the foundry follows an old wax methodology handed down from sculptors and clay makers, in which a clay form is created and then it is waxed on its sides. It's usually flat, but this has 5 sides. And so they had to create a special winch, a special piece of equipment to turn the pedestal as they waxed and prepared it for bronzing. Next slide, please. Here you see the bronze pedestal completed, and now it's time to paint patina on that and use a blowtorch to enhance, through the bronzing technique, the relief by giving different elements of the pedestal, different shades of coating of bronzing. This is a heat and chemical. This is an outstanding STEM and STEAM education project because they invented a piece of equipment. They have to do a chemical heating process. They have to do a wax process, which in the foundry dissolves the wax as the bronze is poured. And so we hope to write a curriculum when we're done, a STEM and STEAM curriculum called Making a Monument. Next slide, please. We premiered and previewed the pedestal in a number of places around Harrisburg and Dauphin County. On your left, you see our historic past players as great orators giving speeches of the 4 people that we would honor, with Representative Patty Kim as our host. And on the right, you see 1 year ago, August 26th, our Toast to Tenacity, where we had 4 generations of women poets read at the orator's pedestal on the anniversary of the 19th Amendment, on the 99th anniversary. Our dedication ceremony on August 26th will be 1 year from that picture and will be the official 100th anniversary. So the pedestal has been used in the purpose of orators, and it has also been used to honor and deify 100 names. Next slide, please. We spoke of 4 characters that would be standing around the pedestal. The pandemic not only shut down the work on the site and, quite frankly, shut down our fundraising campaign, but the foundry had to lay its artists off and furlough its artists for over 14 weeks. And so, reluctantly, we will not be able to install all 4 figures on August 26th. We decided to start with the figures of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, representing the 19th Amendment and that date of August 26th as the 100th anniversary, and William Howard Day, educator, orator, elocutionist. And so here we'll show you very quickly the process of the evolution of Frances Harper. She begins in a wrought iron skeleton. Becky Alt then begins to place the form and shape and silhouette of the figure. And then she begins to give it volume and space by applying levels of foam core and levels of clay. Next slide, please. There are about 6 famous photographs and lithographs of Frances Harper. Becky, like a court reporter, took all 6 photographs and lithographs and worked on them to imagine what Frances would have looked like in 1870 at that point in her life. Born in 1824 and died in 1911, she wanted to give her that image of her actual age. And so these pictures show the evolution of the face. Next slide, please. Becky is an incredible artist. And we talked about the gesture, the stance, and the attitude of each of the figures as they stand individually, in pairs, and in a quartet in animated conversation. So this slide just shows you the work on the detail of the hands, the face, and the neck as the statue began to evolve. The scarf is a bit of humor and a bit of practicality. This was a woman at work, and so Becky put the blue handkerchief on her head while she was working on her, but it was also to approximate the bonnet that she would eventually wear, and which would show her hair in the front and the back. And so this scarf has both a practical and a whimsical purpose. Next slide, please. And here you see Frances Ellen Watkins Harper coming into her own. This is the completion of the clay, full life clay model, which would then be covered in wax, cut apart into sections, the bronze poured, assembled like a Frankenstein, and then very carefully crafted so that no seams showed, and finally the patina. And I wanted to show you this work because of the absolute detail in the hair, in the bonnet, in the eyes, as she crafted. This bonnet was actually made from a photograph by a hat maker in Columbia, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and then made in clay bronze for the statue. Next slide, please. And now we look at the evolution of William Howard Day. Well, he began exactly like Frances did, with a wrought iron and a foam core skeleton. On your right, you see Frances being worked on, and you see William Howard Day's body taking form and shape. Now, a very interesting thing, I'm trying to move quickly, but Becky sculpts the figures nude before she begins to build their clothing, so that their anatomy is absolutely perfect before the clothes are applied, and so that the drape, the fold, and the nuance of the fabrics are covering the true anatomy. Next slide, please. So here you see the evolution of William Howard Day, from his nude body to the beginning of her to form, and she works from the bottom up, his shoes, then his trousers, then his coat. In the middle, you see William Howard Day without any hair. William Howard Day had the most eloquent hair and beard and mustache. And on the right, you see him beginning to take form. That piece of paper which he has in his hands, is Francis Harper handing him back, ladies, the 15th Amendment. He was proud about the passage of the 15th Amendment. But the narrative of our statute is Francis saying, I don't see women in this document anywhere. Gentlemen, we still have work to do. Next slide, please. And here's the evolution of William Howard Day's face, from his form taking shape to her crafting his beautiful hair, to the completion of him with his top hat. We had a challenge because of this beautiful hair. Most of the photographs and the lithographs show him without a hat on. But for protocol and practicality, in the daytime, standing on the corner and with a lady, he would most definitely have his top hat on. And so Becky has set his hat just a bit askew so that we can both see the formality and the dignity of the Victorian gentleman and the eloquence cloth of his hair. Next slide, please. And here you see William Howard Day and Francis Harper completed, ready for to go to the wax room. I cried when this happened, Ellen, because they have to cut the statue into pieces. You know, that seemed like a terrible thing after this beautiful art, but they said, just you wait. And here we are playing with the document and the folds of the document. We didn't want it to be flat like a board or like a plate. And so Becky has actually crafted it to have a fold in it. Next slide, please. And now we go quickly to the transformation of the site. John MELHAM and Associates, architects on Front Street, who many of you know, were commissioned to transform the empty lawn of the south lawn of the K. Leroy Office building, a non-space, if you will. You've crossed this lawn as you scooted from the government buildings to Strawberry Square for your lunch. This building, the Chamber of Commerce looks onto. It has always been an empty lot and a shortcut. Next slide, please. But it has that historic marker that says that it was once the old 8th Ward. My father was a contractor and a construction worker. He said, if you want to get a job done, first you dig a hole. And so the groundbreaking, which was supposed to be March 25th, had to be delayed. There was no pomp and circumstance in our groundbreaking, but our committee went down to witness the beginning of the transformation into the Irvis Equality Circle. Next slide, please. And here are 3 stages of the Irvis Equality Circle. It is designed as an arc, which invites you from the sidewalk into the space, a free formed and articulate cobblestone circle to remind you of the old 8th Ward. And here they are framing the circle, pouring the concrete, and then laying the cobblestone. By the way, this monument stands on a 2,000-pound concrete block, which is buried 6 feet deep, so that the weight of the statue will stand on the lawn, which is landfill. And so what you don't see here is all the subterranean construction. Next slide, please. And here they have filled in the circle and now are pouring the concrete, which forms the walk around, also placing the cobblestone curb. So again, you get a sense of the street, the cobblestone of the street, and the cobblestone of the curbing of the old 8th Ward. So you are in a transformative place. Next slide, please. This is your very own and my dear friend, Jeb Stewart, who was the project manager. Quiet man, you all know, doesn't blow his own horn. But Jeb Stewart was at the site literally every day, making sure that not only the artistic vision was achieved, but we were in full compliance with the Commonwealth, with the county, and with the city on the spot. So my kudos to Jeb Stewart. We stood there in the sun. We wept when the hole was dug, and we applauded when the last cement was poured. Next slide, please. For our education and outreach this summer, I'm coming very close to the end. For our education and outreach this summer, we continue the theme, Meet Me at the Monument, and also join the Jubilee. Next slide, please. And so, thanks to Andy, who is here or there, or maybe on his way to the golf course, we were able to work with his team to craft these really beautiful LAMAR bus shelter signs that say, Meet Me at the Monument. And they are in 4 locations. I'm showing you here the first 2 of 4, William Howard Day and Francis Harper. But the Thomas Chester and the Timor and the Jacob Compton are also visible on the 7 lines of the CAT system. Next slide, please. And here we show you the bus broadsides and the bus signs, which are traveling on cat and rabbit buses through neighborhoods that the descendants may have dispersed to or are living in without really knowing that they are part of this legacy and part of this history. And so this was part of our in-reach and outreach campaign to say, did you know you are somebody? Did you know you have a legacy? Next slide, please. Hundreds of thousands of people pass through our AMTRAK station. They get off the train, they walk the 1 block to the Capitol, and they go into the building without knowing. So we've extended this campaign into the AMTRAK station on both sides of the station. On one side of the station, you see the making of the monument, and on the other side of the station, you see 12 scenes of the historic Old 8th Ward. And so people who are arriving or departing or waiting for their guests, their passengers, or their friends can have a bit of edutainment and enlightenment while they wait. Next slide, please. So I wanted to thank TFEC, thank the city and the county of Harrisburg, thank M&T Bank, Highmark, and Giant, our primary sponsors, and a dozen secondary sponsors, and over 150 individual contributors. And I wanted to ensorcel you, root word being sorcery, by giving you the preview of how Jacob Compton is coming along. While you won't see him on August 26th, he is in the making, just like his compadres, Francis and William. And so you see him moving from wrought iron and clay to figure the anatomy. And hopefully later on, we will be showing you his clothes taking shape. Next slide, please. We could not end this presentation without thanking the gracious and generous Peggy Grove, who gave us the lead and enabling gift for the Commonwealth Monument Project. She has been with us at every stage of the project. Air class for Peggy. And with the balance, and I mean the balance of TFEC and Peggy, we have been able to add gravitas to our project and to have, quite frankly, a fuel and resource in Peggy and a mothership in TFEC. Next slide, please. And so I end by saying TFEC surprised us. Not only are they our mothership, but the mayor gave us a $25,000 challenge grant for the transformation of the lawn into the Irvis Equality Circle. And one day we were called to TFEC's office, which we were prepared to make a report about. We thought it was time to do a report. Instead, they handed us a check for $25,000 to match the mayor's challenge and to actualize the Irvis Equality Circle. I am now at the end and also the beginning. We are 9 days from dedication. And so I thank TFEC and Rotary and Peggy Grove and Jeb Stewart for allowing me to share these thoughts, these visions about the transformation. I end by saying we will be the first monument to African Americans or women on the state capitol grounds of Pennsylvania, and the first monument to the value of the vote on any capital in the United States. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lenwood. Let's give Lenwood a big hand. And well, you know, Zoom meetings just don't quite do justice to saying thank you, but you know, we do the best we can here. So I just thank you again. This is amazing, and just good job this morning with this, or this afternoon with this presentation. Lenwood, can I send you a couple questions that have come in?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
first, how long will the installation be at the Harrisburg train station?
The installation will be at the train station until the end of November, when we install the last two figures. We're installing those figures on November 14th, Ellen, which is the anniversary of the Grand Review. And as you may know, Thomas Chester was the Grand Marshal of the Grand Review, and Jacob Compton marched in that review as a soldier in the 25th USCP. So we'll honor them on that day. And we'll keep the train station installation until that month is completed.
Could you talk a little bit about the biggest challenge? Like, what has been the biggest challenge in putting this whole thing together, and how do you see its legacy being maintained going on into the future?
Well, that's two questions. The first, the biggest challenge was that it's never been done. The Department of General Services had no plan. Well, let me start over again very quickly. When we went to the Department of General Services for permission, they said, we have no budget line item for such a thing, so it can't happen. We said, we'll raise the money. Then they said, we have no vehicle for accepting your gift. So you're going to go to the House, you're going to have to go to the House and the Senate and have simultaneous resolutions passed to accept the gift for the General Service to accept this gift of the people. We said, no problem. Peggy, Patty Kim sponsored HR 415, which was passed unanimously, and Senator Street and Senator Hayward passed Senate Resolution 158. Now that took us 10 months. And we went back to General Services and said, we now have the resolutions. And they said, oh, well, you have to have an engineering plan, and you have to have a blueprint, and you have to have a ground sample. So we said, no problem. And we were able to get MELHAM and Associates. On and on and on and on. So there was no model. It's one of the first public monuments placed on the Capitol grounds since the Liberty Bell was placed at North and 3rd Street at the end of the 1965 World's Fair. So there was no model. That was one of the challenges. We have a stewardship campaign started by the descendants of the 100 families, and they have begun an endowment line item with TFEC and a stewardship plan. The first family to generate that was the family of Maud Coleman, represented by Yvonne Hollins, past executive director of the Boys and Girls Club. The second was the family of Daniel Potter, spearheaded by Danielle Bauer, who is a city councilwoman, and also a family member of Daniel Potter and Hannah Jones. Say very quickly, James, that DGS said, no problem, we'll take care of it like we take care of the rest of our statues. But if you've seen the rest of their statues, we said, oh my God, no, we'll take care of them. We'll take care of it. And so we have a growing endowment for their perpetual care. They'll cut the grass, and they'll move the snow, and they'll mow the lawn and rake the leaves, and we'll keep the pristine condition of the bronze figures and the airless quality.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are headed to a 1 o'clock wrap up time, but I have one more real quick question. How can we attend or see the dedication?
Oh, we have spent 18 months saying, meet us at the monument, and 10 months saying, gather there. And now because of COVID, we are saying, join us 6 feet apart. Join the Jubilee by watching us on Zoom. So unfortunately, because of DGS and CDC regulations, we will not be able to have the large public gathering on the corner that we hoped for. We had found an article that said on the day of the reading of the 15th Amendment, hundreds of people poured onto that corner to hear. We are saying, go to channel 20. It will be live streamed. We will invite a discrete group to do the ribbon cutting and to provide you with a program. That program will be covered by our main media services in part and by channel 20 in full. So if you'll tune in on Wednesday, August 26th from 4 to 6, you can virtually attend the dedication, or you can go to YouTube following to see it. You can also visit us on monumentpaus.com, all one word, and watch our progress right up to the end of the dedication. We'll be filming the installation and placing it on our website. And also there, if you want to help us towards the completion of our goal of Chester and Compton, you can make a donation and help us.
Great. Thank you so much. Let's give it up for Lenwood Sloan. A wonderful, wonderful job today. So good to have you here. It was a real privilege. And keep us posted. Send notes to Adeline, send notes to Ellen, and we want to keep tracking along, with the monument.
And well, your dear friend and our North Star, Janice Black, can give you all the backstories.
That's right.
Or Peggy Grove if you need.
Great. Well, thanks so much again to everyone. Rotary Club of Harrisburg, club number 23. The hour has flown by, and we're here at 1 o'clock again, ready to wrap up our meeting. Our next meeting will be Monday, August 24th, next week. Stephanie D'Oliveira, Senior VP of Human Relations at Sheets, will be speaking on the subject of leading the workforce in a post-COVID world. That is sure to be an interesting presentation. Again, I just can't say enough about how much we appreciate your support and your ongoing engagement. Make it a great Rotary week, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.